What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ty behind the camera, and sitting in front of us is the 2025 Audi Q7. And we have a 45 engine, which means it's the turbocharged 4-cylinder, in the Premium Plus trim with the executive package and also the black optic package for us to take a look at today for your viewing pleasure. Now, for 2025, Audi has mildly updated the Q7 with mostly styling updates to the front and rear end and a little bit of stuff on the inside. So what we're going to do today is we're going to check out this Q7 entirely. So we're going to start off at the exterior. We'll then pop the hood, see what two engines are available. We'll also see what kind of storage space and occupant space we have in the second and third rows of seats. And then we'll move up front to check out all the technology that this vehicle has to offer. Now, if you're interested to see how this particular Q7 drives with the turbocharged 4-cylinder, we do have a dedicated video, and the link for that will be at the end of this video, or you could just head on over to Ty Drives to check that one out. But let's get straight into it here with these headlights, and they are a new design for 2025. So we have LED high and low beams, as well as LED daytime running lights and turn signals. And we finally have the sequential turn signals up front, whereas we only had them out back before with the previous non-updated Q7. Right below the headlights too, we have headlight washers, which will pop out. And kind of the biggest change would be the front grille. So on this black optic model, we have all glossy black, very neat design, and we also have glossy black for the lower grille that leads up into the sides towards the headlights. And we have the new Audi grille, or I'm sorry, the Audi emblem on the new Audi grille. We also have our sensors up front for the adaptive cruise, front camera system, and also your front parking sensor. So the Premium Plus comes pretty loaded up with lots and lots of features. The hood is nice and long and leads right into the grille. Our wheel arches are all body colored to give it a kind of more sleek appearance. And we do have new wheels, and this is kind of the wheel setup for the black optic package. They measure up at 20 inches and kind of have a machine face to the wheel, and then they also have a kind of metallic gray painted pockets. Tires are pretty large, and they measure up at 285/45 too, and large brakes, big discs, and 6 piston calipers up front. We've got some more black optic styling going along the side with this kind of glossy black trim. Also, the trim around the windows is all glossy black, as well as the roof rails. So definitely lots of elements with the black optic package. Up top, you can see our panoramic sunroof and the shark fin antenna peeking out. And our mirrors do have the camera for the side. We have a 360 camera on this vehicle. And we also get integrated turn signals in the mirrors too. And on the mirror housing itself right here is where you'll find the blind spot indication. Now, on all 4 door handles, you will see this little pad right here. That's for your smart key entry. So you just tap that little pad here as long as the key is near the vehicle, and that will lock. And then you also just put your hand behind the handle, and that will unlock. And the door handles are illuminated on this car. So as you can see, all 4 door handles do have the smart key entry. Now, one thing I wanted to circle back to up here is a little touch on for the 2025 model year. Audi has put their name right on the B-pillar, as well as the Q7 TFSI Quattro emblem on the B-pillar, so that's pretty neat. Quick glance at the window sticker reveals a couple of options worth pointing out. We have the Glacier White Metallic, which is a little bit extra, the Premium Plus trim level. We also have executive and black optic packages, as well as the trailer towing package. That gives us a total tab of $70,735. So not too bad for what you're getting. Definitely a price increase over the 2024 model year though. We have our spoiler up top and our slightly revised rear taillights. So the kind of upper portion is a little bit different. The turn signals, brake lights, and tail lights are all LED powered though. Looks very nice, all illuminated again with these sequential turn signals. Taking a look back, we do have a slightly restyled rear end with that kind of black element going through the tail lights. And also, you can't forget our kind of updated 2-dimensional Audi rings. Just below the rings, we have our trunk release and a reversing camera. We also have the trailer hitch and One of the biggest news here, and in the 25 model year for the Q7, you have real exhaust tips. Yes, you've heard that right. An Audi, a normal Audi with real exhaust tips. You also have parking sensors back here. And to round out the exterior, I'd like to give a huge thanks to Valenti Audi in Watertown, Connecticut for providing this beautiful Q7 for your viewing pleasure today. What do you guys think of the exterior styling on the updated 25 Q7? Let me know in the comments. Popping the hood of the Q7 for 2025 remains pretty much unchanged. You still have two engine options. One deemed the 45 like we have here, which is a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder. It outputs 261 horsepower, 273 pound-feet of torque. It's all hooked up to a 8-speed automatic with quattro all-wheel drive as standard. And you could tow up to 4,400 pounds with this turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. Now, the next engine would be the 55 engine, which is a 3-liter turbocharged V6. Produces some pretty healthy numbers, 335 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. That also comes up hooked up to an 8-speed automatic with quattro all-wheel drive as standard. But with the extra power, you could tow up to 7,700 pounds. So that's a pretty good number for a car in this category. Now, of course, we have the SQ7, which is a totally different animal, and we will cover that in a different review. But I am pretty excited to see how this 4-cylinder does on our test drive, so make sure you check out that video. So the Q7 does come standard with a fully powered liftgate. Now there are 3 ways to pop it. There's a button on the key, a button below the Audi rings on the trunk lid itself, and a button on the driver's door, which we'll see in just a bit. But let's take a look at the trunk area. So, of course, the Q7 is a 3-row of seating vehicle, and I have one side of the 3rd row seats folded up. So as you can see, the amount of room behind the 3rd row looks pretty good. Not too bad at all, actually. And we also have buttons to fold up and down the 3rd rows of seats. So let's fold that 3rd row seat down, powered. And once it's down, you can see we have a pretty darn good amount of space behind the 2nd rows of seats. Now, of course, the 2nd rows of seats will fold down too, as you can see, in a 40-20-40 split. And we'll get more into the 2nd rows of seats in just a little bit here. But yes, once you fold down the seats, you have plenty room. You also have cargo tie-downs in each corner, a nice sill tray here, and not a whole lot of storage underneath this cargo floor, just a kind of a lot of things kind of for the stereo and things of that nature. We do have LED lights to either side of the cargo area with some nets on this side, and also a spot to put a cargo shade. Once you are done in the cargo area, we have 2 buttons. One to close the trunk and lock the vehicle, and one to just close the trunk. Let's get our first glance at the interior on the Q7 with the rear cabin. So not a whole lot has changed back here, at least, except for the addition of sunshades. So you have some pretty nice sunshades that you can clip on up top and keep the sun off of your rear occupants, so that is pretty nice. But as far as the rear door goes, very nice materials, of course. Soft touch up here, leather down here with your armrest, and some contrast stitching. We do have the classic black leather interior with some very nice looking wood, definitely a dark brown with a pretty cool grain to it, and your metallic accents. We also have this little storage cubby that's almost maybe pretending to be an ashtray. I'm not too sure what you would use that for, but it is actually removable, the tray inside. We of course have our window switch, a bit of storage, actually a pretty good amount of storage back here, and the 17 speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system that comes on the Premium Plus trim, which is very nice. On the B pillar, we do have air vents. And we're first going to look at the third row seat. So the way you access the third row seat is kind of a two-step process. We pull on this handle here and make sure the backrest clicks into place. And then we also have this little handle here, which you push in. And it is assisted with some strut, as you could see, and that will gain access to the third row seats. Now, as you can see, the third row seats are pretty small, so I'm not going to climb back there. But with you can move the second row seats back and forth. You could slide them back and forth for a bit more space. But the third row seats are definitely made for smaller children or maybe people that you don't really like that much. Down here you do have some controls to fold up and down the third row seats, and once you get back here you can open up the headrest there, so that's pretty neat. As far as amenities back here, you do have cup holders and a little bit of storage. You even have some speakers and illumination up top. And to put the second row seat back in its place, all you need to do is just push down, pull up on this handle here, and kind of put it up like so. Now the second row of seats is reclining adjustable, so we can use that same control there to kind of recline the seats to where you like it. And kind of all three portions of the seats move independently, so that's a pretty cool feat. So you can have the center seat forwards more than the outer two seats, or you can have the center seat reclined more than the two outer seats. So it's definitely very customizable in the second row. As far as materials go, we have a nice smooth leather on the inside, and it's all kind of drilled leather too. We have the opposite colored stitching. The center headrest you can raise up and down, and you can also fold down the center armrest with a couple of cup holders. And of course these seats will split fold, kind of a 40-20-40 split, so you could kind of essentially have a pass-through with the center there. And just under here you could see the bar to where you can move these seats back and forth. Lots and lots of room in the second row of the Q7, and very, very solid doors once you close them. So again, these seats are all the way back in their tracks, and take a look at how much space I have back here. So at least 3-4 inches of legroom left. I am 5'10", and I already adjusted this seat to a normal driving position. So just for frame of reference, you have lots and lots of space for a guy of my size. We have map pockets on either of the rear seats, and we also have a pretty nice looking climate control. Again, this will come on the Premium Plus model. In addition to the air vents we have on the B-pillars, we also have them on the back of the center console, and a full set of climate control. So this vehicle does have a 4-zone climate control. You can adjust temperatures back here, you can adjust fan speeds back here, all independently from the other passenger back here. We also have heated seats, where you want the air to blow, and also to turn it off or turn it to an automatic function. So that's pretty neat. Down just below the climate control, we have a 12-volt power outlet and 2 USB-C chargers. Pretty small drivetrain hump too, so I think center passenger back here will be pretty roomy. Definitely enough space for a center passenger. We have a full black headliner on this car, LED illumination, and also your grab handles, and a nice big panoramic roof. Let's check out the front next. So the part you've all been waiting for, let's check out the front cabin on the Q7. So like I said before, most of the controls, switches, design is pretty much the same on the inside of the 2025 Q7. The real updates are on the outside. There are, don't get me wrong, there are a couple of different tweaks that they did do to the infotainment system and the driver's information display, and we will get into that in just a bit, so stay tuned. We have more of that beautiful wood. We also have 2 memory positions for the seats up front. We also have our lock and lock buttons right next to the door handle. We have individual power child locks for the rear, along with all of your window adjustments and all of your power mirror controls too. They are power folding and heated. Speaking of our mirrors, you can see this little cutout in the mirror, and that is actually where your blind spot light comes out of, so it's just a little bit easier to see than actually in the mirror glass. Materials are fantastic. Up front we have soft touch up here, leather down here, and we have a pretty nice sizable storage area with a bottle holder. Again, another Bang & Olufsen speaker, and the area to pop your trunk. On the left of the dash, we have some glossy black and metallic accents. We also have our headlight controls, front all-weather lighting, and some more wood with a pretty neat little area to store some things. So pretty good size storage pocket in there. Down here we have our pedals, nice big dead pedal, and our hood release. And to the side of the steering wheel, we could see we have a powered tilt and telescoping steering wheel. Or steering column, I should say. The driver's seat is very comfortable, fully powered, and has some very nice grade leather with the dimpling on the center and the smooth leather on the side with contrast stitching. We of course have all of our normal controls with full-weight lumbar. And what do you say we hop in and check out the technology this car has? So, hopping inside the Q7, it's very familiar in here if you drive a 2023 or 2024 Q7. The design has pretty much been unchanged. Now, there are a couple of different features, as I said before, in the virtual cockpit and in the screen. So we'll definitely check those out and kind of highlight it. But as an overall interior look, I think it's a very classy interior. So I really like the screen integration with that glossy black element. Lots of ambient lighting in here at the nighttime too, so definitely a very attractive looking interior. As far as our keys go, we have the pretty similar Audi key fob. We have the lock, unlock, trunk release, Audi logo at the bottom of the key, and we also have the panic alarm on the back and a button to release a physical key. They also give you a pretty cool spot in between the cup holders to kind of rest your key, and the push button start is right below the lower touchscreen. Now let's take a look at the steering wheel first. We have very smooth leather on the steering wheel, contrast stitching, and as far as functionalities go, we have all of these here, which is kind of a programmable button right here. You can kind of adjust what that button does according to your needs. We also have Bluetooth controls, so the phone button and your voice commands. We also have this roller right here to adjust the audio volume, and back and forth to adjust your presets. Over here we have all the buttons and controls for the virtual cockpit, and behind the steering wheel we have our traditional controls up here for the turn signals, automatic high beams, and also to turn on and off your lane keeping is this quick. Just below we have this stalk right here for the adaptive cruise control, and on the other side we have our front and rear wiper adjustments. Now attached to the steering wheel we do have paddle shifters, which are pretty nice to have. And let's take a look at the functionalities of the virtual gauges. So again, we're going to use all these buttons here to adjust the virtual gauges. And at any point you could press this view button, and the speedometer or tachometer will get a little bit smaller so that you can see more information in the center. So again, that will go along with any screen that you're in. Kind of in this driver information mode, you could scroll down and you could see your real-time and average consumption, short and long-term memory, energy consumption screen, kind of seeing what's taking up all your energy and getting you less fuel economy, and your driver's state estimation. So kind of estimate when you need to stop and take a break from driving. So that's pretty neat. Going up, we also have a new screen here. So this is new in case you have a 2023 or 2024 Q7. You won't have this screen, the 2025 will. And that is a kind of devoted driver's information screen. So that will kind of let you know what's going on with your lane keeping assist, if there's somebody coming up in your blind spot, all that good stuff. Now we can also go to the radio screen, the phone, and then also the full screen navigation. And again, at any time you could press that view button and kind of shrink what you see in the center and make the tachometer and speedometer a little bit larger. Now what is constant is the fuel gauge over here. And you also have an estimation of the distance to empty right there. And then you also have a coolant temperature there. So pretty nice gauges with a couple of different new features. Up top, we have some stitching that goes to the span of the dashboard, and it's a nice soft to the touch material. And that brings us down to our touchscreen, where again, there are a couple of different tweaks. This main screen kind of being one of them. We kind of have this, this quick search bar right over here. what's playing on the radio, and then your Amazon Alexa, which is also new with some shortcuts here. So that's one of the menus. Now if you swipe over here, I really like this tab. This is kind of a search tab. So if you swipe all the way over to the left, the leftmost screen is a search tab. So that's pretty cool. And then you can also type in what you're searching down below. Switches from the climate control into a keyboard. If you press home, that'll bring you to here, and then if we swipe over, this will kind of give you a jumbulation of all your different apps. So we can kind of go into the main ones, which is the radio screen. If we click on the radio station, you can see it looks pretty nice. We have the song playing in the center, all kinds of different controls, a list of all of your radio stations, and then you can also adjust the source. We have media, phone, and navigation here too. So very nice map with the built-in navigation, and you can input your destination there. Again, that lower screen will turn into your keyboard. We have phone apps, which has to do with the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which this vehicle has. And we also have our vehicle adjustments. And you can head into your Audi Drive Mode Select, where we have a couple of different driving modes: off-road, comfort, automatic, dynamic, and individual. And individual, you customize a couple of different things. We have a couple of different other things, such as your lighting and visibility, so you can kind of adjust your interior ambient lighting through here. We have our driver's assistance tab, which you can kind of adjust almost like a driving mode from a maximum to a basic, and then you can also do an individual. So you can kind of adjust what kind of driver's assistance features that are most important to you. I think that's a pretty cool feature. And then we also have a settings and service tab to view your servicing intervals and oil life and all that stuff like that. Swiping back over, we have a couple of different things. You have different themes you could buy. You have Amazon Alexa built in, all of your different settings, which is pretty cool. We have our brightness for the displays, so there's no actual physical control for that. You have to go through the screen. And then we also have all of our general settings, our sound settings, which you can adjust quite a bit on this Bang & Olufsen sound system. And you can also configure different users, which say you and your wife are driving the vehicle and you both have different preferences. You can customize different users for the vehicle, almost like memory seats, but for the touchscreen. And you can also swipe from the top to get various shortcuts, sound settings, Wi-Fi information, basic settings, and your own settings there too. So nice couple of different updates to this touchscreen here. But overall, same idea, just a couple of different things added. Taking a look down below, this is primarily your climate control. So we have our both temperatures to either side here. We have the zone, so where you want the air to blow, and your fan speed in the center. And you can kind of swipe up and down like that for your temperatures, as well as your fan speed, so that's pretty cool. If we press automatic, that will kind of adjust everything to an automatic climate control, which is pretty nice. And down below we have our seating adjustments, so the heated seats and cooled seats for up front, that goes for the driver and passenger. Our AC settings down below, and a couple of extra controls that'll pop up on the upper screen, such as the heated steering wheel, rear climate adjustments, and a couple of other small things. At the top here we have a couple of unrelated controls. We have the auto start stop, which you can turn on and off. We have a hill descent control, a customizable button where you can kind of adjust your home screen. This button right next to it that shows kind of a house is your garage door home link, so then we can also just turn off the upper screen. Now there's a couple of physical buttons below the lower screen here. One to quickly access your drive mode select for your traction control on and off. Also your hazard lights and your front and rear defrost. One more array of buttons just below that is our start stop button, which you saw earlier. And then you can also pull up your parking sensors and parking cameras, which, by the way, 4 cameras all the way around the vehicle to give you a good idea. Very high resolution cameras and lots of different camera views. What we're looking at right now is a front wide angle view and the top down, but if you press this little tab here, you have different adjustments. So you could turn it into a normal front view, the full screen top down, the rear view, wide angle rear view, and then the front and rear wheels, so you can get kind of close to a curb in case you are parallel parking. Now this camera system a lot more automakers are implementing it, but Audi was actually one of the first ones to have a 3D camera system. Take a look at that. You can see all the way around the vehicle. Like I said, it's becoming more common on vehicles now, but Audi was one of the pioneers of this very neat 3D camera system. We have a couple of more switches and buttons down here, one to customize your driver's assistance and also your volume knob and presets control too, so that kind of doubles as both functionalities. We have our transmission lever or your gear shift here, which is totally electronic. We have a little release button at the side here, and we can pull that straight down and that'll put us into drive. It does light up according to what gear you're in, and you can also put it straight up into reverse. Of course, your parking sensors and cameras will activate at that. We have neutral somewhere in between, and then we also have the P button right here for park, and also your parking brake. A couple of cup holders to the other side with a 12-volt power outlet. And you're saying, where are the rest of the power outlets in this vehicle? And if we lift up this very nice and soft center armrest, which is also adjustable, you can see we have two USB-C connections and your wireless charging pad. Not a whole lot of space in here though, so make sure you put your goodies elsewhere. On the passenger side, we have the very nice Quattro emblem right there with glossy black and also wood underneath. We have a lockable glove box with plenty of space inside. It's all felt lined, and it even has a pen holder inside. The passenger seat is fully powered. And taking a look up here, we see we have adjustments for our sunroof and sunshade, which, let's put that sunshade back and see what the sunroof actually looks like when it's open. While that's working, let's take a look at our sun visors. So we have kind of two sun visors on this car. Your main sun visor, which will open up to a mirror and a light up top. But if you put that over to cover sun on the side, you can extend it. And then you can also bring this one down to kind of fill in the gaps. So pretty cool two sun visor system there. Now that the sunroof is, or the sunshade I should say, is open, we have a pretty giant panoramic roof. And the controls for that is this one for the sunshade and this one for the sunroof. So you can put that back to open up the sunroof and press it upwards to vent. A couple of other lighting controls and SOS buttons up here. We do have tap illumination. All the interior illumination is all LED like you'd expect it to be. And we have a full black cloth headliner, very nice quality to the headliner. And to finish off the features on this Q7, we can't forget about the rear view mirror. Now, the view out the rear is actually pretty impressive. We can see very nicely. We don't have huge blind spots at all in this car. We do have corner windows and a pretty good view out the straight back of the vehicle. Now, one thing I failed to mention while we were in the cargo area is the rear window actually has a sunshade too, like the side windows. As you can see right there, there's a little portion that you could pull up and it'll clip in up top of the window, so that's pretty neat. Now the mirror is frameless, auto dimming, and does have a compass in it, so a couple of nice features with that. But that pretty much rounds out all the features on the updated 2025 Q7. So not a full update with tons of styling differences, but we definitely have a different looking exterior to this vehicle. I hope you have enjoyed the Q7 just as much as I have, and I also hope you stick with us here at Ty Drives for not only the test drive of this car, but also future videos on Audis and any other make that we work with. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.